You know, the older I get, the more I realize that Christmas didn't just change, it morphed into a completely different holiday. Back in the 80s and 90s, Christmas wasn't just a season, it was a culture, a mood, a full-blown sensory overload of lights, toys, glitter, malls, and TV specials that you waited on all year. And most of it is gone, or at least hanging on by a single strand of tinsel. So today, we're gonna take a little sleigh ride back to the traditions that we grew up with, the ones that made Christmas feel special, and the ones that are kind of disappearing. So pop that tape in, I got you, let's go do this. All right, so this isn't a Christmas was better back then or Christmas was better when I was a kid type of rant, maybe just a little, but the truth is the 80s and 90s had some very specific magic, and so many of those traditions are quietly disappearing, or they're reducing down and changing to the point where they're more background noise or a supporting character instead of the main star. And one of those things that I was thinking about is Christmas catalogs. The original internet was this catalog wish list. There was no internet for us, right? I mean, I had a internet lab in 1997 when I was graduating high school, where we went and played Oregon Trail once a week on a computer, and that was like the beginning of it. And before that, before Amazon, before online carts, before we had all these promotional emails telling us what to buy and algorithm advertisements, we had Christmas catalogs. JCPenney's, Sears, Toys R Us. These things were thick too, like phone book thick. Phone book was something else that we used to have. And they weighed like 8 pounds minimum. You'd flop those things open, grab a marker, circle things that you wanted, that even if it looked remotely cool, they made it look better in the catalog. And every page felt like something that you could have this big Christmas morning. Today we scroll, back then we imagined, and it hit different with those catalogs. Something else we had in the 80s and 90s, but really in the 80s big time, in the early 90s, was toy commercials. They were pure Saturday morning sorcery. Today's commercials, when they do have them, they look like they're shot on an iPhone, no depth, no imagination, just kind of like, here's the product. But back then, these things were like mini action movies in and of themselves. Flying camera angles, explosions, lasers, kids playing with toys on real mountains and real jungles with, G.I. Joe and stuff like that. And the best part was they were paired with the cartoons that we were already obsessed with. So you got G.I. Joe commercials during G.I. Joe, Turtles commercials during Ninja Turtles cartoons. All that stuff built the hype machine in your brain until you were convinced this toy would change your life. And honestly, sometimes it definitely felt like it when you got it. Another thing that has definitely been lost now that we used to have, thanks to the rise of VHS, was VHS recordings of Christmas specials. There was nothing cooler than going and getting a blank tape. And they used to advertise for blank tapes all the time, and slapping a handwritten label on it and recording whatever Christmas specials and Christmas episodes that were airing that night so that you could watch them over and over again. They captured those commercials in there with them too, so that just sort of added to the ambiance, the magic of it all, the mise en scène of Christmas time on your VCR, grainy tracking lines, old 80s and 90s commercials, maybe a chunk of a football game or something, or a soap opera your mom recorded over if they hit the wrong button. But that was the charm. You didn't just watch the special, you watched the entire era it came from. Streaming is convenient and all of that, but it doesn't have a soul. It's not connected to anyone or anything else. VHS at Christmas absolutely was. And mall culture. Mall culture in the 80s and 90s was peak energy, and it was absolutely peak energy at Christmas time. The lights, the crowds, the Christmas music blasting in every store, Santa Claus in the mall with the big Santa's workshop, and getting your picture taken with Santa Claus in the mall at Christmas. Going to the mall wasn't just about shopping. It was an event. It's where you went and hung out with people at the arcade, the gold mine. That was my hangout at the mall. And I was talking to someone, I still have some of those tokens, but like all of this is part of that. You got your picture taken with Santa, you got some snacks, you listened to the Christmas music, you saw the toy displays in the big stores, or maybe like the Nintendo displays, Atari, whatever it was. But today, most malls kind of feel like abandoned for the most part, unless you go to like a really big well-known mall. But back then it was the center of civilization and a Christmas wonderland all of December. Something else I realized was kind of disappearing after another video like this was handmade Christmas. And what I mean is we used to always do things like make our own stockings, whether it was at school or at home. And a lot of times that involved taking like the squeeze Elmer's glue and just getting a plain stocking and then writing your name up on the white part of the stocking in Elmer's glue and then dumping like glitter on it and letting it dry and get hard and then shake off the excess glitter and you had your name. We would make these things by hand. Cookies, you would get in the kitchen with your mom and use, we had like these Christmas cookie cutters that we would use and make Christmas cookies with different shapes, Santa Claus faces, angels, Christmas trees, all that kind of stuff. And we would make Christmas chains, which, we just cut out strips of Christmas wrapping paper or whatever and make chains. And that would be sort of like a stand-in for an advent calendar. You would pull one of those off each day as you got close to Christmas. It was a fun activity and it heightened the anticipation. These things were messy, but they were fun. They were goofy, and it was a memory that sticks with you. And it's just something that with all the hustle and bustle of today and everything online and feeds and algorithms and all that kind of stuff, it just kind of got lost. And with that, you cannot talk things that have kind of dwindled without talking 80s and 90s toys, because they were part of a shared pop culture magic. Kids today have just infinite niche interests. So like you're in this niche, you're in this niche, everybody has different little things they're interested in. This kid likes Roblox. This kid likes anime. This kid likes vinyl. This kid likes this kid it's all over the place. But back then, we were into the same stuff. It was a shared pop culture. Light Brights, Teddy Ruxpins, G.I. Joe, He-Man, Transformers, Ninja Turtles, Nintendo, Atari, Thundercats, all of that stuff, Barbie. It was all in there, and every kid was into the same stuff. It was a unified culture. You talked about the same toys at school, at recess. You saw the same commercials. You circled the same pages in those catalogs, and Christmas morning then felt universal. Everyone was connected. They felt the same magic with the same things, and there is something kind of beautiful about that. And one other one, and this one's much of a smaller one, and it still goes on today. But I remember the Disney Christmas Parade. They would show this. It would air it was either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. And they still show it, and they still have the beautiful Christmas parade at Disney World. Disney World was kind enough a couple of years ago to let me bring in a cinematic camera, like the camera that I make movies with, and film the Christmas parade. And I was able to sit right front and center, and I'll have all this footage in here for you to see. But this Christmas parade, the same one they have in their parks, used to be aired nationwide every Christmas morning. So it was like a ritual. You could watch this parade kind of like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, but something magical about the Disney part of it. And you could watch this and have it on in the background and all of that stuff. And I feel like maybe people still do it because I know they still air it, but it just seems like something nobody ever talks about. And it's kind of maybe not the same event as it was. And that goes back to me talking about things like, you know, some of these things are still around in bits and pieces. Some of them have completely disappeared for the most part, like Christmas catalogs and a unified wish list and things like that. Those things have kind of really disappeared. But, you know, the parade, some of these things are still there just hanging on, and we can bring them back the same way we can bring back the magic of a handmade Christmas, like getting there and do some arts and crafts, make some stuff, make some cookies. It doesn't matter if they come out right or not. You just get in there and don't let these traditions die. I hear people that they become very cynical and cynicism in these videos like this, and they're like, oh, it's gone and it's never coming back. No, that's lazy. That's wrong. It's not true. It's all still there. Don't let anybody convince you it's not. It's there to be had. That magic is still there to be created and passed forward. So maybe they didn't all vanish completely, but it's up to us to make them the star of the show again. And that requires us to be present and be part of something bigger again. But in a world where it moves so fast and technology moves faster, and somewhere along the way, a lot of that simple magic got left behind, we can bring it back. We still remember those things. We still carry those things. And every time we talk about it or share a story or share it with one of our kids or show one of these old specials, we bring it back. We keep that magic alive just a little bit longer. And that is the power of all this. So don't let it get you down. Pass it forward out there. Pay this thing forward and bring back that magic that we're all looking for. So I hope you enjoyed this just quick little video. Some of my other videos actually just got me thinking about this, and I wanted to share it with you. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. If you'd like to support what we're doing here a little more, you can join my Patreon below, and you're going to get your name and lights on all these videos, behind the scenes looks at my filmmaking, physical media, 4K reviews, special members only videos, and so much more, behind the scenes discussions, and everything goes back into the channel, and it helps keep me doing this and keep that magic alive. But until next time, Merry Christmas, you nostalgic legends. I will see you real soon. And be kind, rewind like always. Bye-bye. I know.